We are live here inside T-Mobile Arena for UFC 285. It is the first UFC pay-per-view to emanate from the fight capital of the world in Las Vegas, and we've got a good one as Ciryl Gane, the former interim champion, takes on the former light heavyweight champion in Jon Bones Jones. Hey, everybody, it is Extra Rounds. I'm TJ DeSantis, along with Vanessa and the Dream, Chase Hooper, kind enough to join us here in the belly of the beast inside T-Mobile. And, guys, it has arrived, one of the biggest, if not the biggest fight you can really make here in mixed martial arts. It's the return of Jon Jones. Chase, you and I were talking about it yesterday at Tough Enough for our pre-show. Now we got the little monster here, Vanessa. Yeah, Vanessa, this is a huge fight for all the right reasons. Jon Jones, arguably the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. He returns after a 3-year layoff and hopes to become the next man to own light heavyweight gold in his history, but potentially a run here in this heavyweight division, that would really cement his status as probably the best to ever do it, right?
I don't even know if the status needs to be cemented. I don't know if there's been somebody who's had more title defenses than he has. The man knows how to win. He knows how to be a champion, how to be a dog. He knows how to be aggressive, and these are things that he has said himself all week, but these are things that he's portrayed over and over and time again. When everybody thought they had the winning recipe against him, he's come out victorious. He's shown why he truly is the GOAT.
Now, he's moving up in weight, which is what Chase Hooper's actually doing. Not moving up to heavyweight by any means, but, you know,
someday.
What are the, really? Someday?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, all right. He's honest. But, you know, what do you sort of look at from the first few moments that we'll see Jon in the octagon as far as, like, indicators on whether or not he belongs in this weight class?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to see the speed factor. You know, he's a couple years older. That's definitely, again, a huge factor. As these guys get older, they're going to slow down a little bit. We're going to see if Jon Jones has any of that ring rust or if he's able to, you know, shake that off pretty quick and be back in the mix. He's definitely fighting an uphill battle with that Drake bet, though. Maybe if he breaks that Drake curse, though, he's definitely the GOAT for sure.
Are you someone who's, like, superstitious? Like both of you guys, active fighters in the UFC. Are you guys superstitious?
No.
Really? I feel like a lot of fighters are.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have a ton of different stuff that I do. I used to wear the same shorts for every single fight. You know, I use the same mouthpiece until I lose, then I buy a new one. I let my coach pick the walkout song all the time, and yeah, I don't know. People are, I don't know, you just want all the odds in your favor, even if it's just in your head.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little bit more like placenta, like placebo.
Placenta is a completely different conversation.
Placebo. A little bit more of a placebo effect. For me, I'm not superstitious at all. I just really believe that, like, my hard work is what got me here and what it's going to continue to help me to rise. So, and we know, like, Jon, like, he's been working.
Right.
Like, he had to put on all of that size. And, I mean, he said, he's like, thank goodness this isn't a bodybuilder competition, because he does look a little bit different at heavyweight than he did at light heavy. Yeah,
and let's be honest, he's here in this position because of his hard work over the years that have really propelled him into this sort of GOAT conversation. Let's take a look at some of the accolades that Jon has. You know, he owns a record for the longest light heavyweight title reign, 1,501 days. Most wins in title fights in UFC history, most wins in the light heavyweight division, and of course he was the youngest UFC champion in the company's history. But at 35 years old, moving up, you know, it is going to be interesting to see where Jon is at. You know, numbers don't always tell the same story for every athlete. Like Randy Couture was 35 years old when he made his mixed martial arts debut. Jon, you know, a lot longer in the tooth, but if anybody can find maybe another gear in their career, it's someone like Jon Jones, who's a supreme athlete. Now, with that athleticism in mind, is he going to have to call upon that in this fight against Ciryl Gane, who we don't have any questions about Gane, Chase? He is, in fact, one of the best heavyweights in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have to pull out all the tricks. Gane's world class. You know, obviously he just lost to Ngannou, but again, he's a world class guy. He's got great grappling. He's got great striking. He's a super solid wrestler. And he's a little younger. He's perfect. He's athletic. You know, he's got such a good game plan. He's one of the few really well-rounded heavyweights that we've seen in past years, and I think he's really a good indicator of, like, the next generation of heavyweights, and it's going to be whether or not Jon Jones is going to be able to deal with that.
What do you think, as far as your expectations are concerned, Vanessa? Do you expect Jon Jones to, you know, be comfortable in this heavyweight mold?
I really really do. I think he's going to be masterful, not just comfortable, but masterful in this mold. I know that he is a huge studier, and when it comes to somebody like Ciryl Gane, he's admitted that he doesn't train in between fight camps. So there's no growth there. What you see is what you get, and it's very easy to be able to study somebody like that, analyze them, break them down, and then be able to capitalize on their weaknesses and also on your own strengths. And I think that John's going to be able to do this beautifully. Chase said that Ciryl Gane is a wonderful wrestler, but we don't know that. You know, all that we've seen is somebody who wasn't a wrestler being able to take him down time and time again. And we know that Jon Jones is a wrestler, and he's talked that that's going to be his game plan. Now, I'm wondering, do you think that he's telling that just to try to give Ciryl like something to think about, and then he's going to strike the whole time?
Maybe, you know, like bait and switch mentality a little bit. You know, we'll see. I'm curious about the wrestling X factor here because we talk all day about Ciryl Gane and his Muay Thai ability. A great, phenomenal striker, but he is also very strong. We'll see if Jon Jones has the same sort of strength that he assumes he will, fighting up a heavyweight division here. But, this is my thing, and I hate to say this because I was talking to you about it yesterday, Chase. The more I sort of think about it and analyze it out loud, I tend to lean towards Jon Jones, but my pick is Ciryl Gane. I believe that Ciryl Gane is a person that you have to sort of lean towards just because he's a more proven commodity. In this matchup, Jon Jones, if he's 85 or 90% of who he is, or who he was, he probably can win. He's the greatest of all time. But when I look at what we know about Ciryl Gane in this fight, no layoff, really, I lean towards Ciryl Gane, but anything can happen, and we're going to find out.
We are going to find out. Ciryl has knocked people out. He's heel-hooked people in the UFC as a heavyweight.
Right. A Muay Thai fighter, but submissions as well.
People.
Yeah.
We got to give respect to the name, but we shall see what happens.
Respect?
Respect.
Right. That's how that's what they give in Brazil, right?
That's
respect?
right.
Yeah. Let's take a look at some of the accolades of Ciryl Gane. MMA record 11-1, which is really just crazy to see what he has done just 12 fights into his mixed martial arts career. Finishing rate of 72%. Nice submission to a knockout ratio there. He's been in the UFC since 2019, and he's the 5th interim heavyweight champion in UFC history. Of course, he wants to be the undisputed champion tonight. Let me ask you this. As far as whether or not Jon wins or Ciryl wins, let me outline my idea to paths to victory and see if you guys co-sign on. I like either Ciryl Gane early or Jon Jones late, meaning if we get to the third round, I think we'll see Jones's fight IQ take over. He's going to be able to outlast that initial storm of Ciryl Gane, and I like Jon to take it that way if it goes that far. But leading up to that moment, it's going to be a very precarious, I think, 2.5 rounds for Jon Jones to stand on the outside with Ciryl Gane. So what do you think, Chase?
Definitely. I feel like Jon Jones, being the veteran that he is, he's used to these 5-round fights, and he has the gamesmanship to kind of plan the fight out a little more. He's not just going in looking for the finish. He's willing to, win the rounds, not blow all of his energy, stay smart, not get too caught up in trying to get a finish or anything. He fights very smart. That's why he's one of the best in the world. That's why he's considered by many to be the GOAT. And, I think he fights smart here tonight.
What do you think?
I have Jon Jones.
Okay.
I have Jon Jones. It's so hard to bet against somebody that has been so dominant in everything that he's done. How many 5-round fights has this man had? How many times has he truly gone the distance? He's faced adversities. He's overcome those adversities. And he's proven why he truly is the GOAT. And we can call him that right now until proven otherwise. I think that Ciryl Gane is going to be his biggest match yet because of the weight difference. But Ciryl also moves like a middleweight, like a lot of these light heavyweights that Jon's already used to seeing. So this isn't something that he's uncomfortable with versus a lot of the other heavyweights that Ciryl Gane has gone against. He was able to outmaneuver them because they weren't used to seeing that type of speed from such a large individual.
I'm going to stay convicted with my Ciryl Gane pick, but you're pulling at me like, dang it, you're right. And that's the thing too. Like, I understand that Jon Jones has the 1 loss on his record, but he didn't lose that fight. It was disqualification. And if you want to make any argument that Jon hasn't looked great in his last few fights at light heavyweight, you can make a case that he got hit a lot more. He cannot afford to be hit tonight, especially early in this fight. But we'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the odds, courtesy of our friends over at DraftKings. John Jones is the favorite, -155 on the former UFC light heavyweight champion Ciryl Gane at +135. DraftKings Sportsbook is the official sports betting partner of the UFC, and new customers can get up to $150 in bonus bets when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Download the app using the code FIGHT PASS right now and get in on the action today. It is a championship doubleheader here in Las Vegas. The flyweight title will be on the line when Valentina Shevchenko takes on Alexa Grasso. No doubt about it, Valentina Shevchenko is the best that we've ever seen at 125 pounds. She's back in another title defense tonight against the Mexican and Alexa Grasso. For Shevchenko, it was a bit of a rough outing last time. She still got the job done over Taila Santos, that be it by split decision, but still a win nonetheless. Vanessa, your thoughts on the idea that Valentina Shevchenko is coming back tonight in this title defense with maybe more of a point to prove, because her last fight was a little bit contentious, and it's the first time we've really seen a fight be debatable with her in this 125-pound class.
I think we're going to see a very violent Valentina Shevchenko tonight. She is absolutely one of the most tactical fighters in the women's division, strawweight, flyweight, and bantamweight combined, I believe. She is so smart in how she goes about her fighting styles. I think we're going to see not only violence from her, but tactical awareness. She's going to be a very smart fighter, and I'm really looking forward to this fight.
You know, breaking this fight down, both women are strikers. Alexa Grasso has a very good submission game as well, and Valentina is creative. Don't think that she's just a kickboxer by any means. She has good ground and pound. She has good submissions as well. But, you know, I want to focus a little bit more on Alexa Grasso's opportunity here, because she's a sixth-ranked flyweight in the division. It's her fifth fight in this 125-pound weight class, primarily a strawweight chase throughout her career. What does she need to do to sort of, you know, upset the trend of Valentina Shevchenko's dominance?
I think one of the big parts that we kind of touched on yesterday is she needs to go into the fight not like so many girls going against Shevchenko's, against Nunes. They're going against like the idea of them. A lot of them go into the fight knowing how much of an uphill battle it is. They go in knowing, oh, I might get beat up. Like, I'm going to have to fight this person. I'm going to have to fight Shevchenko. I'm going to have to fight Nunes. But she needs to go into this fight thinking Shevchenko has to fight me. Like, thinking about all the, you know, tricks that she has in her game. I think the grappling aspect is a really good, you know, way for her to try to, you know, get that win. Submissions are always great. We know Shevchenko's a great striker. I think, you know, trying to take her into maybe a less familiar territory is probably going to be the best path to victory.
What do you think of the idea of fighting as an underdog, Vanessa? I mean, do you pay attention in your fights at what the odds makers are saying?
Oh man, the minute that they start putting me as an underdog, I'm like, yes, keep sleeping on me. So it's never affected me personally, but I do know fighters do look at that kind of thing, you know, and it kind of gets in their head. It's like, oh man, like everybody thinks I'm going to lose. Why does everybody think that I'm going to lose? So the best situation to be in for Alexa Grasso is to put those blinders on, believe in what you have, which is what she's been talking about all week. She keeps saying, I see Valentina has some holes in her game. I see that there's some things. I mean, jiu-jitsu is the great equalizer. And I do know that Alexa Grasso is very slick on the ground, and we saw that that was a problem area for Valentina her last bout out. So we will see what Alexa Grasso's game plan is going into this.
If any athlete is swayed by the odds that are on them, you know, it might be, you know, wise to stay away from them. And you know, I think Bo Nickal, as long as he stays true to himself, shouldn't have a problem. But he finds himself as the -1400 favorite against Jamie Pickett tonight. You know, Bo Nickal, a fellow Contender Series alum like yourself, Chase Hooper. When you look at Bo Nickal and sort of like the buzz behind him coming into this UFC debut, that's got to be some pressure as well. I mean, -1400 in your UFC debut on the main card pay-per-view. I mean, we've seen guys fight in the UFC for a decade and never make it to the main card on pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's unprecedented to have this much hype behind any fighter for their debut. But I think it's warranted. You know, NCAA, three-time national champ.
One-time runner-up, you know? There's only one guy better than the 1 year he didn't win it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best in the world, at least in the United States. One of the best in the United States. Great wrestler, high-level collegiate. We'll see, though, once we start adding the striking, once you start adding in the jiu-jitsu. That can throw a lot of guys off, but I do feel like Bo Nickal is a high-level athlete.
Yeah.
These type of guys, they're talented. They're able to pick up on, new concepts, new different activities, like, pretty quick. I think we'll see a really strong showing from Bo Nickal tonight.
The energy is starting to build here inside of T-Mobile Arena as we move closer and closer to our preliminary card. But that's one thing I'm curious about. Bo Nickal not fully new to this environment of competing in front of large groups of people. He was pulling thousands of people into Penn State when he was vying for collegiate titles, but this is a fist fight. This is much different in the sense that, it's a fight capital of the world. This is the UFC, the Mecca when it comes to mixed martial arts. Is he immune to those sort of jitters, you think, Vanessa?
I think so. I think absolutely yes. He has shown to dominate any area that he's currently already walked into. Like you guys said, there's only been one person to ever beat him when he was already fighting at the highest level of where he was.
Yeah.
I think he's more than prepared to take on this challenge, and we know that he has been training. He has been screaming for the mountaintops for this opportunity right here. And this may be a fist fight, but it's also mixed martial arts. And this can be whatever type of fight you make it to be. And we know where his skill set lies. So, you can look out for this fight to hit the ground fairly quickly.
But he also won his first fight by knockout. He's not one to sort of shy away from a fight. But one thing I'm curious about is, just the arena and the environment. Yes, it's his fourth professional mixed martial arts fight, but that said, it's different when you can't hear your corner. And when you are out there in the regional scene, it's not 20,000 people inside of an NHL arena, essentially. So I don't really know what the sort of outings previously Chase really did for his sort of preparedness in fighting in this environment. What was it like for you to walk out in front of a big venue like this for your first time?
Everybody's different. I try not to look around. I try to just be focused on the guy trying to beat me up on the other side of the cage. But I think, having been able to go to the NCAAs, it's pretty loud in there. It's not quite comparable to a stadium full of UFC fans. But, I think he's probably used to not maybe being able to hear his coaches as well. And I think in a high-level athlete like this, the coaches are, not that they're not necessary, but it's more just suggesting ideas. And Bo's the final, he'll make the final decision on that. I feel he could go into the fight by himself and do just fine. But that extra help from the coaches is always great. Going to be great between rounds. But I think, again, Bo's a high-level athlete, and I think he can do it pretty well. He can deal with this pretty easy.
I'd really like to add, though, we have not seen a more confident athlete walking into this type of an arena in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
He is so confident, which is why on the betting cards he's so high. For somebody to believe in themselves that much so, I really hope he shows out. I really want to see that. I'm
happy you brought up confidence because I want to circle back to our main event when it comes to mindset, because we've seen a different John Jones. We've seen a guy who, to me, is sort of enjoying the process. And I've seen some people online talk a little bit about him being maybe more complacent with the idea of, this is just another fight, when it's not just another fight. This man is fighting for a heavyweight title in his first heavyweight, championship. What are your thoughts on just this calm demeanor and engaging with fans the way that John Jones has? Is it to his detriment? Is it to his benefit? What do you think?
I personally think that every fighter deals with their nerves in a different way. So for me, I like to look at it as it's another day in the office. I spar in the gym so often that by the time I walk in here, I've already done this 100 times. I've already won the battle.
Right.
I already know what's about to happen. I just get to go out there and do it.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell said something along those lines like, fighting was the reward. The work was done in the gym, fighting is a reward.
That's how I feel as well.
Yeah.
I didn't know Chuck said that. That's amazing.
He did, yeah.
All right, me and Chuck, we're right here.
I look at you and I just think Chuck Liddell,
You
get a mohawk.
the haircut.
Yeah. Well, what about for you, Chase, on fight night? Do you enjoy fight week? Do you enjoy the lead up to it?
I enjoy fight week. It's a ton of fun stuff, but the weight cut obviously sucks. And the pre-fight, it's always the lead up to the fight is the part that sucks. That's where all the nerves are. The fight itself, that's been easier for me, is knowing the fight itself is never bad. It's things are happening too quick for you to be afraid. The fear is just like, I don't know, it's your body trying to get you ready, trying to keep you, pumped up. It's your own, like, performance enhancers. Your body, like the adrenaline and all that, it helps you perform at a higher level, perform faster, like deal with the pain and all that. So it's just knowing that and trying to have that mentality going into it. And knowing that in the fight, like, even if you get cut, it feels like a little rug burn, Your shin gets swollen, you're not going to know until the night after. But yeah, I mean, everybody deals with it different. I just try to, I try to think of it as like jumping off a cliff, into some water sometimes, you might hit a rock, but you're just slowly marching your way up, and you just got to know, like, when it's time to take that plunge, you're going to do it, and no going back.
Is it alarming to you, though, that John hasn't been like this necessarily throughout his entire career? Because that's where the change is, and I think people that are fans of Jon Jones, that's where they're going, wait, why is there a change in his attitude?
I've definitely noticed that a lot as well. As I've been watching a lot of the media, he isn't normally this friendly. And everybody's different. We all shift a little bit when it comes closer to fight time. All of us shift, but it's how are we shifting?
Right.
I get really crazy and excited. Chase is probably a little bit more reserved, and
that's not just about fights, by the way. That's like extra rounds, going to the grocery store, whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, on fight week especially, I have so much energy on fight week. So maybe this is just how he is portraying all of that anxiety that he has. And who knows? Maybe he's not anxious at all. Maybe we're reading into this too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're gonna find out. Like that's the thing. All bets are off. When these two heavyweight Goliaths will take the octagon and settle the score. What do you think the strategy is going to be for Ciryl Gane? Because we talked about his, great striking, phenomenal Muay Thai striker, undefeated in that sport, doing pretty well on the MMA stage as well. But also he's switching up, his game and, able to launch a submission offensive. Do you think that we'll see Ciryl Gane engage Jon Jones in grappling and all the night?
I don't think we're going to see him be the aggressor in the grappling department. I would foresee him maybe widening his stance a little bit. You're going to see him bouncing a little bit less. You're going to see him picking his shots a little bit more clearly, because we know that Jon has already done the studying. If I was Ciryl Gane, that would be my game plan against somebody who's physically said, I am going to wrestle you.
When it comes to Jon Jones, Chase, we've seen him be very dynamic with his striking approach, spinning elbows, spinning back fists. Will he be, that sort of dynamic fighter tonight with a very competent striker in Ciryl Gane, or will we see a more conservative approach to that striking game?
I feel like we'll see a much more reserved approach, like maybe closer to Thiago Santos' fight. A guy like that, a power striker, you got to kind of stay outside of the pocket, not catch any of those power shots. Where again, like, he's probably not going to want that from Gane, feeling that heavyweight power. And Jon Jones has a really excellent game, like, right outside of the pocket. He's got those oblique kicks. He's really long. He's got his nice jab. He's got all these nice straight shots. And I think we'll see a lot more of that tonight. Then I think he'll be smart and probably not get too crazy with any of those shots.
Jones has been a little bit disrespectful in the way of Ciryl Gane by saying, Vanessa, that John feels that Ciryl's the most incomplete fighter in the heavyweight division in the top 10, top 5. And I mean, that's interesting. It's sort of a slight, especially when you look at what Ciryl Gane has done. He's won fights by submission, by knockout. What are your thoughts on John's sort of dismissal of the well-rounded game of Ciryl Gane?
Man, yeah, that one's a little bit rough for me, because I feel like Ciryl Gane, like you said, he is a well-rounded fighter. He has shown that he does have grappling skills. Maybe not so much in the wrestling department, but definitely in the jiu-jitsu department, and absolutely in the striking department. Like, you cannot deny this man. So for Jones, like, it's one of those, like, he's got to say what he needs to say to try to get through whatever mental game he's fighting, but you cannot deny that Ciryl Gane is one of the best fighters in the heavyweight division and in the world at this point.
Was it mental warfare, Chase? Do you think Jon is trying to get a reaction out of Ciryl?
I think so. I think he's hoping that Cyril's listening to that and digging at him a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we've seen Jon Jones. He's the highest level guy. Just like Conor, like, he's not just thinking about the fight itself. He's thinking about, what is this guy going to hear? What is he going to see me saying about him on the internet? It's really hard to avoid stuff like that, especially if you're the main event of this huge pay-per-view. You're bound to see Jon Jones saying that you're the least complete guy in the division. And then, he's hoping that it's going to start, unraveling that. And then, then Ciryl Gane's going to start his game on his back foot. And, yeah, I think Jon Jones is playing more the mental side.
We'll see how it unfolds tonight. 5-minute rounds for the undisputed UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world. I want to close out with this. John has been asked about a lot about his legacy. For my money, again, I think he's the greatest mixed martial artist to ever do it. You guys are active in your career. I mean, have either of you who are currently penning their legacies thought about legacy at all as you guys fight?
I absolutely think about legacy, yes. I am creating that every single day, that I get to be in front of the media, get to talk to fans, get to step into that cage. And every opportunity that I get, I'm like, where am I going with this? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? So for me, that's actually my forefront thought.
What about you?
I think this is more as like the climb up a mountain. It's really overwhelming if you are looking up at the top the whole time.
Right.
I keep my head more to the ground, just focus on what I'm doing. Each fight, slowly working my way up. Because I don't know, this sport's so crazy, so cutthroat. You never know what one fight's gonna end up. It's just so high stakes that I try to just focus on the next one and then build from there.
I know your mindset. I've got to work with you for a while now. Coming up on a year, by the way, which is crazy.
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun. But, I remember when we were here, I think for IFW last July, and you were sitting here at top at T-Mobile, and you're like, wow, I fight here. I fight for the UFC. I'm on a win streak. And it's like, how to me on the outside looking in, Vanessa, I would think that's always at the forefront of your mind. Like, you're this badass UFC fighter, but like you were saying, Chase, if you're constantly looking up and making everything to be so big, like that's got to be sort of debilitating too. Like, you can't, enjoy the moment, but don't get lost in the moment. Am I right?
No, 100%, yes. I'm always so grateful and thankful for everything that has happened in my life. I'm surprised every day by new things. It is. It's about the journey, and like Chase was saying, keep your head down. I am a very forward thinker. I do see the top of the mountain, but you're never going to get there if you're not looking at each step that you're taking. You're going to slip on every rock along the way if all you're focused on is looking up. So it is important to enjoy exactly where you are. Celebrate the small moments, even the little moments. I celebrate all the moments, and know what you're looking forward to in the future.
I like that you have a special voice for the little moments.
Yeah, little moments.
Wow. All right. We had a little moment yesterday when we were broadcasting live from Tough Enough here in Las Vegas. Immediately following us, we had a brand new show that debuted today on UFC Fight Pass featuring Caroline Pierce and Don Fry. And you guys want to relive a moment?
Let's go.
Let's take a look at it. This from the new UFC Fight Pass show called Tea and Whiskey with Caroline Pierce and Don Fry. Enjoy.
Who the fuck got knocked out? Huh? Who got knocked out?
Tea and Whiskey available now for you on UFC Fight Pass. All right, we are here inside T-Mobile Arena. The stage is set. UFC 285 about to get underway with our preliminary card. I already got your guys' pick in our main event. I'm assuming here, safe assumption, are you both going Valentina Shevchenko?
Yeah, smart money's on Shevchenko, but I always like to root for the underdog.
Yeah, me too. I really want to see Alexa win. I really do. But I'm voting for Shevchenko to win this one.
All right. And, again, championship doubleheader. That's a main event in its own right, So I'm excited for it. We're here for it. And hopefully you will be as well. Immediately following the pay-per-view broadcast, we'll be live for our post-fight show. So please join us. And, let's do it.
Let's go!
What was that?
Come join us!
All I know, you look pretty badass doing anything, but that's a strong look. Come on, dude.
I got a point too.
Yes.
Let's go.
Chase isn't believing it. I don't believe it, Chase.
Sorry.
All right. Well, let's put a bow on it. Appreciate you tuning in. And on the way out here, we'll take a look at our new segment with Dean Thomas. It's called MMA Math. We'll see you immediately following UFC 285, Jones versus Gane. It's extra rounds here on UFC Fight Pass. Of 2023. In your main event, a pair of former champions will clash with the top spot in combat sports hanging in the balance, as former UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones takes on the former interim champion Ciryl Gane for the UFC heavyweight championship of the world. While the GOAT debate is always contentious, you can't have the argument without considering Jon Jones for the top spot. At 35 years old, Jones owns UFC records in numerous categories, including most title defenses and wins in light heavyweight history. Now Bones has his sights set on a new division. Standing in his way will be the Frenchman Ciryl Gane. Undefeated in Muay Thai, Gane focused his efforts towards mixed martial arts in 2018. Starting his career undefeated at 10-0, Gane earned an interim UFC heavyweight championship in the process. After failing to unify the titles in 2022, Gane returned to action this past September, where he defeated Tai Tuivasa by knockout. Now he stands ready for his second shot at a UFC heavyweight championship. Coming up next, Dean Thomas breaks down the main event of UFC 285 as Jon "Bones" Jones battles Bon Game Ciryl Gane. This is MMA Math on UFC Fight Pass.
What's up, y'all? MMA Math brought to you by UFC Fight Pass, hosted by your boy Dean Thomas. All right, UFC 285 right around the corner, and we've waited 3 years for this moment, the return of Jon Jones. Not only just a return, but he's coming back as a heavyweight. Now, as Jon Jones makes his return, he's taking on a new breed of heavyweight, the interim champion hailing from France, Ciryl Gane. Now, what makes this fight so interesting are the questions that will hopefully be answered. But the most important question is, how will Jon Jones look as a heavyweight? Not only have we not ever seen him fight as a heavyweight, but this is also a different kind of heavyweight. Ciryl Gane moves better than any light heavyweight that Jon Jones has faced. Now, Jon will not have the size and reach that he's used to having, and he will also be at the mercy of Ciryl Gane's movement. There's another question to be answered, but this one's for Ciryl. He was out-wrestled by Francis Ngannou. Is his wrestling his true weakness? I sure hope not, because if his Jon Jones gets him down as easily as Francis was able to get him down, Jon Jones will pulverize him from the top. But if Ciryl can stay on the outside, take advantage of using his movement and fluidity, he shouldn't have much of a problem with Jon Jones, theoretically. I'm Dean Thomas, and this is MMA Math on UFC Fight Pass.
There it is, Dean Thomas setting up MMA Math for Jones versus Gane tonight, your main event of UFC 285. So I tried to play that new clip of our show, Tea and Whiskey, and I was told you didn't hear it. So let me do that now. The all-new show from UFC Fight Pass featuring Caroline Pierce and Don Fry. Tea and Whiskey, available now.
You've got a few thoughts about a certain Irishman and his thoughts on MMA, haven't you, Don?
Well, I wouldn't say Irish man. I would say Irish something or other. That Liam Neeson, what a prick. Let me tell you, that guy, he sits there and he's trying to tell everybody UFC is just a step above a bar fight. Bullshit. That shows you how stupid this guy is. He doesn't know shit from Sinola about a fight, and let's make a movie without a gun. If he's so goddamn anti-violence and all that, make a movie without a gun and impress me.
Well, I wanted to let you get on your soapbox to have that moment because, of course, here we know how skilled martial artists are.